a shooter.
Yes.
It's built on the Unreal Engine.
Yes.
But it's not just about shooting.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's a...
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce our guest.
Yes, we're so excited. That is because of excitement.
We have Tanya Jessen, who is the Epic Games producer. Thank you. Okay, now imagine I just asked you that question again, and tell us about all of the crazy combos and shooting.
Okay, so there's this joke we like to use in the studio. I said this in the press conference yesterday. We saw some crazy over-the-top stuff happening in the game, and we referred to it as a blood symphony, because it was like you really are playing as like a conductor, and the enemies and your weapons and the environment, these are all like your instruments of destruction. I mean, seriously, we were like laughing in a playtest about this. And when we started to think about how we wanted to encourage the player to play like this, out came the skill shot system, which is you do cool stuff, and we want to reward you for it. We want to encourage that sandbox-style gameplay. So that's a big part. That's like why Bulletstorm is completely different than any other shooter that you'll be playing.
Now, we have seen other games that try to give points, sort of Tony Hawk style for killing people. And I think what always comes across is that, hold on, but how diverse is it? I believe it is diverse here, but maybe our viewers don't understand how much you can use the environment, yourself, and the enemies against all one another.
Yes, exactly. Well, so you have your set of weapons, as well as a standard issue set of things such as a leash, a Peacemaker carbine, which is an assault rifle, and you have a kick. So instead of melee, we wanted the player to have like more of a visceral interaction with the enemies. And so we added a kick and a slide so that you can really figure out how you're going to set up your skill shots. And so by using these together, you can leash somebody, shoot them in midair, and you get a frequent flyer if they die before they hit the ground. Or you can leash someone, kick them into something that impales them, and then they get a bad touch. So there's like literally every kind of combination you can think of. Yeah.
A bad touch.
And I also you can have your enemy swallowed by a plant, which is something that we just saw moments ago as well.
Yes. Yeah, well, the whole planet is very dangerous. So everything has become mutated, including the people on the planet, the plants, and everything. And so the plants actually interact with the enemies as well. So you can kick enemies towards plants, and then they'll get swallowed, and then you get a feeder skill shot.
It's important to feed the plants.
Yes, yes.
And so what are some of the weapons that you guys have shown off?
Well, at E3, we're showing Peacemaker carbine, which is our standard assault rifle, as well as its charge shot, which is shooting 100 bullets all at once, which is, it's awesome, right? It's just like 100 bullets all at once, yeah. And then our flail gun, which is 2 grenades with a chain being shot out of a launcher, essentially, and its charge shot, which superheats the chain and slices through the enemies like butter.
Yeah, I would love to see the flail gun hopefully soon, because it's one of my most favorite things that I caught in the game.
Adam has been talking about this entire E3. It's this gun, and it's on chains, and it's awesome.
Now, it sounds like also that, with the environment, with the enemies, you want to almost try to use a couple of different weapons on an enemy at once. How quickly can you switch through the weapons so you can be really dynamic with that?
Yeah, so that was actually a big concern for us, and so we actually make it to where you only have 2 weapons. You can only carry 2.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so your standard issue is always on you, and then the other weapons, which are kind of more like tools for setting up your skill shots, so it's on Y. You just hit Y, and it switches, or the triangle button for the PS3. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Now, do you pick up various weapons throughout a given level, or you try to restrict only certain weapons at a certain time?
So we have something called a drop shop, which once you encounter an enemy that's using that weapon and you pick it up, you've unlocked it in the drop shop, and then you've also unlocked its set of skill shots and its upgrades for that weapon. So as you're going through the world, you're encountering new types of enemies, figuring out how to defeat them with your skill shots and your other weapons you have, and then picking up their weapon, and now you get to upgrade that and do new skill shots and stuff.
So it's not necessarily that at the beginning of the level you pick a loadout and then you're ready to go. You're going to be able to kind of change dynamically with.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to pick and choose. Whenever you go to the drop shop, you can determine which type of weapon you want to use, if you've unlocked it.
And what kind of environments we're going to see? We saw the jungle environment with the killer plants.
Yes.
What other kind of environments are we going to see?
So in our E3 demo, you actually start out right after you've crashed onto the planet, and so you're out in the outskirts of the city in the desert, and you can see the horizon of the city in the background, and you're going to the city, which is named Elysium. And so the previous footage that you've seen is actually in the middle of Elysium. This is like a park, a conservatory in the middle of the city. And so we have a number of unique environments that are in the city as well as outside the city. So we can't wait to show more. I hope that everyone can see what kind of stuff we're going for with the E3 demonstration. So.
It clearly is it's in sharp contrast to a lot of other shooters out there. It seems to have the lighthearted tone that we really don't see anymore from a game like Serious Sam. And you seem to be going back to kind of the classic stuff that, the Painkiller guys are so good at, like Serious Sam, like Doom. I mean, was that the inspiration?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we like to say, I mean, first of all, pulp sci-fi was absolutely what we wanted to do for this game. We wanted it over the top. We wanted it to be all about fun. Like Cliff likes to say, putting the fun back in first-person shooter. Like, it really is all about, like, not going into an area and thinking, oh crap, I have to stay back and I have to hide from bullets. It's about, there's a guy over there by some rebar, and there's like a guy under a sparking sign, and there's a guy like, over on the edge. Well, what kind of scenario can I set up? And we actually have people who replay the same arenas over and over again to try to get different points and like figure out how many skill shots they can get. Yeah.
Which leads me to a question I just thought of right here. Are you guys going to have leaderboards so that people can really try, for those bragging rights?
I assure you, we definitely want to encourage those bragging rights. We actually, in our E3, in our behind closed doors demo, we have that already kind of built in, so people can see like how many skill points they got in the demo and all that.
Who's awesome?
Yes.
Who's not awesome?
Exactly,
Totally.
And then I get to make people feel really bad.
No, are there somebody who is not so good at shooters going to be able to pull off, and there's going to be a hard, and are they ranked in any way, or?
Yep, so we have multiple levels of skill shots based on difficulty or creativity. And so, for example, one of our very creative skill shots is Mercy. So if you shoot a guy in the groin and then kick him in the face or shoot him in the face, you're putting him out of his misery, so you're committing a mercy. This is worth more because it's a very creative skill shot. But if you were to just kick a guy into a cactus and get a bad touch, it's kind of, it's a lot easier to get, and so this is worth less. So we definitely encourage people to think about, how am I going to go about doing this? Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I have to. I'm curious now. When are we going to see the game? Oh no! Actually, I take that back. It was announced at the EA press conference just yesterday.
Yeah, we had an awesome press conference yesterday. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I have to say this really is a breath of fresh air. Not that there's anything wrong with all the other shooters out there, but sometimes I do need to laugh heartily while
absolutely.
I'm killing things. So, thank you so much.
Thank you
so much for joining us.